You need to speak into the mics or it won't pick it up. They're not that.
Okay, good evening. I am Dawn Rand, and I'd like to call the meeting of the Fire Station Building Committee to order. This meeting is being conducted partially remotely and is being streamed live and recorded. Before we begin, I will confirm the presence of the committee members participating remotely. Please state your name and confirm that you can hear and be heard. Members, please respond. This is by the full name, and I can hear and be heard. Since some members are participating remotely, all votes taken during this meeting will be by roll call vote. So,
Thank you, Chair Rand. This is Jacob Jones. I can hear and be heard, and I really appreciate you doing accommodating. Sorry I can't be there in person, and I really hate being the big head on the screen.
Yeah, I've been there. It's no fun.
okay, thank you. All right. Before we start, I'd like to say that John Rapper is here representing the Financial Planning Committee. He's a liaison. He does not vote, but we thank him for his input. Okay, we start with public comment. No public comment. Approval of meeting minutes. Do I hear a motion?
You can't.
I have to abstain.
I wrote them.
I will make a motion to accept the minutes as recorded. What was the date of the meeting?
At last month's meeting.
Last month's meeting. I have the
I'll second it.
I was going to say, can you second it? Okay. Motion's
the
been
May
made.
28th Building Committee
Thank
minutes.
you. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
You have to ask Jacob so he can abstain.
Jacob?
Madam Chair, I abstain. I was not a member for that meeting. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Committee reorganization, discussion and vote to elect a new vice chair created due to a vacancy.
Madam Chair, can I make a motion?
Yes.
I'd like to nominate Diana Nicholas for the position of Vice Chairperson.
I think that's a great motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
But you have to ask for any other nominations.
Oh, any other nominations?
Excuse me. Okay, now
Okay,
you can
roll
do
call
all this.
vote.
Yep.
Aye.
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Jacob?
Madam Chair, this is Jacob Jones. Aye.
Thank you.
And I. Okay? Congratulations, Diana. Okay. Construction update.
Yeah, so since we last met, there's been quite a bit of excavation at the site. General contractor, site contractor has got down to the footing, bottom of footing near the, we'll call it the front wall of the apparatus bay is probably the easiest way to explain it. There's some contaminated soil still being removed. It's very, very minimal at this point, but for the most part, it's all been addressed and taken off site appropriately. We are still working through some shop drawing review of some materials, some rebar, block walls, things that are, large piece of the project. Concrete shop drawings have to make their way through. Concrete mix shop drawings have to be approved. So it's a steady process of submittals being approved through the project team.
Do you believe we're where we should be?
At the moment, we are where we should be, yes. In addition to that, there have been temporary utilities have been installed. We now have power on site. We're waiting for plumbing, but for the most part, the excavation is the large part of the
Yeah, they're waiting for
project.
internet too still, I believe, right?
Internet's on its
I heard
way.
I heard him
Yeah,
complaining today.
They're waiting for some equipment, yeah.
Questions? Any
Amy, are you going to
comments?
take the second half of the?
Yeah. Can I add to it?
Add to
So, as Todd was just saying, we're starting to get submittals and shop drawings. We're starting to get some material samples that come in. We do plan on, once we get a complete package, like of the exterior building materials, we'll bring them in to run by you, and hopefully they are our basis of design or close to it. We've started to get brick samples, shop drawings or product data for windows, those sorts of things. One of the things that we're starting to talk about is the retaining wall, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit about very preliminary information that we've gotten at this point, and I've got...
Amy, could I interrupt you for just 1 second? I'm not sure if Jacob, you understand the basis of design and what Amy's referring to? Okay, I didn't know if I wasn't sure if you're familiar with the projects.
I've been following along the
Okay.
way. I'm right along with you. Thank
Wanted to
you.
make sure you understood we weren't talking and you going, what are they talking about? So,
Nope. I'll let you know if I need clarification. Thank you, Chief.
So I do have a PowerPoint with some imagery to help this discussion for the retaining wall discussion, if that's okay. If we switch over to that.
Dana?
Thank you. So what we've gotten so far is really sort of bits and pieces. We need a complete submittal package for the retaining wall to really have all the information that the engineers can use to analyze it. But some information starting to filter in, including the manufacturer that they're looking at. So even before we get the engineered shop drawings, we wanted to show you the product that they're looking at. It's a little different from the basis of design, and so we want to make sure that that's something that the committee is comfortable with before we go any further in the whole process. So that's what I wanted to run through with this imagery.
Just make sure you point it this way, okay?
Can we,
I think it's,
yeah, from the beginning? There we go. Okay.
Can't get rid of, sorry.
Hey!
There we go. Okay, so the first few slides are ones that we showed you during the design process, just to refresh everybody's memory. In the bottom left-hand corner, we've got our site plan, and I'm sure you all remember, but again, for our new committee member, just to bring everybody up to speed, on the east and west sides of the site, our retaining wall is designed to be a straight vertical wall, and then the back portion of the parking lot, the northernmost end of the parking lot, I'm sorry, the southernmost end of the parking lot, that is a battered wall. So remember, each of the blocks steps back about 9 inches, and that's what we're showing in that plan there. The dark red represents the top of the wall, and you can see on the east and west, you can't, in this plan view, see anything but the top of the wall, but then in the back, that pink represents the wall as it goes down and it steps down. And we did that for a number of different reasons. If you remember, we looked at the aesthetics of that back wall. We looked at whether we wanted it to be straight, whether we wanted it to be battered, or whether we wanted it to be terraced. We looked at cost implications for those. On the east and west, we wanted to keep it straight because of the proximity to the property line, to limit the amount of disturbance that would be necessary in order to install that wall, and to try not to impact the neighbors as much as possible. So that is still our plan for the basis of design, and something we're working through in the shop drawings. And then we showed you some options for texture and color. And on the right-hand side, those 3 images are the ones that we showed you during the design phase. The top image is of the cobblestone texture, and that is the one that the committee chose as the basis of design. We looked at the cobblestone, the limestone, and the ledgestone, and that was all from our manufacturer basis of design. Those were all products that were readily available in this area. And then for colors, that manufacturer, our basis of design manufacturer, they had just gray concrete was the standard color that was available, but they had custom colors that were also available. And we talked about the pros and cons of the coloring and the different techniques that they used. At the time, we decided that gray was the direction that we were going to go for the color, and so that was our basis of design. In the middle of the slide there, that's the product that they have submitted. It's a different manufacturer. There's only one texture that's available for the wall, and there aren't any color options available. So it would still be a gray standard concrete, but the texture, as you see, is different from the cobblestone texture that we looked at before. It's probably a little more similar to the ledgestone texture that we showed you during the design phase. So that's what we really wanted to talk to you about right now, and see if it's an aesthetic that you're comfortable with before we go any further. These I've just got a few more things to show you.
Did you want to discuss this first? Or you want
No,
to?
you'll-
No,
you'll
we're
see
going
some-
to, I want to show you what the walls look like. So we showed these images to you during the design phase 2. On the right-hand side is that cobblestone block shown in a wall configuration. On the left top, it was the limestone block, and the bottom was the ledgestone block. So again, this was all the manufacturer that we used as the basis of design during design. And again, we chose the cobblestone texture. So I've got some photos now. Sorry, point over here. So this is the submitted project, or submitted product in real-life applications from the manufacturer's literature and website. So this is what that submitted product looks like when it's installed. You see it's got more of the ledgestone sort of texture and look to it. So that's all I had to show you. So if you want to discuss.
I'm comfortable with it, but how does everyone else feel?
So one of the things we had talked about was we wanted it to kind of have a natural look. Remember, we had talked about that, but the ledgestone, if I recall, was more expensive when we had first talked about it. And as this is what they're actually showing us, and this is what the only product they have, I have no objection to it. The only thing I would have liked to have seen it, what it looks like in the battered, it's something, so it's difficult to look when they're all straight walls we're looking at. But I think it looks okay, in my opinion, but I'm just a fire chief, I'm not an architect. But, so what's our architect say over there?
We have 3 architects in the
Okay,
room, actually.
you, because Tom's not here.
know what they.
I want their opinion too, but I hear you.
I think it's okay. Yeah, it's, ours won't have the banding across the top, like the lower right, correct?
Correct. Well, actually,
Did our basis of design have that?
our basis of design did not have that. So one of the,
Okay.
so
Then I
the
wouldn't
reason.
expect it.
No, but the reason I'm pausing here for a minute is to address something that both of you just said. And the reason I don't have photographs of the battered is because they don't, I don't want to say they don't typically do that. We had an initial submittal, which was for a straight wall, and then we had a meeting with the manufacturer to talk about what the design intent was, where we were going to have battered. And they said they can do it, but we haven't seen a complete shop drawing package about how that's done yet. The blocks that they use are not solid. The basis of design blocks were solid, and so when they were stepped back with a batter, you would see the top of the block. Here, there's a void there. And so one of the questions that we have out to them is, if you step this back and have the batter, what do you do with that void? And so that's why I'm bringing it up. I don't know if they would cap it, or if they would fill it.
That's
or
an
if
important
they-
question.
It's an important question, and that's why this is very preliminary. There's a lot of information we still need to go through with them, as I say, and get a complete submittal package and really understand. But if the texture was something that you didn't like, then I didn't want to go too far down the path with the rest of the conversation.
No, in some ways, I like that it's more varied and sort of less regular and rigid than what we had as the basis of design. So I'm okay with it if others are. I mean,
Agree. Dan?
I'm okay with
and
it.
again, when the firehouse is there, people aren't going
I'd
to see
say
this
that.
much. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's
Jacob?
worth a lot of.
Yeah, thanks. I think the difference in look is not a problem to me, especially if the chief and those who have to look at it more frequently are okay with it. I'm kind of more okay with it. I'm more thinking of it if it helps us get done on schedule and in budget, and I'm also okay with it. I'm wondering if it's hollow, what's the weight difference, like density wise per block? Obviously I assume it's adequate for a retaining wall that we need it with, but I was a little bit scratching my head on the hollowed out nature of it. That's a little weird to me.
Yeah, so the whole thing is going to be engineered, and we'll get calculations and drawings that are stamped by an engineer, so it will demonstrate that it will, serve its purpose and meet all the requirements to act as a retaining wall. The whole structure behind the wall is a little bit different from the basis of design, so this is all, it gets very technical, but it's all the things that the engineers need to look at in the submittal and analyze. And we just haven't gotten a complete package yet for them to do that work.
One other just really quick minor question, and it's probably too late to ask this kind of question, but on the part that's stepped, could you remind me what's the distance between the steps? Did you say, you said it, but I don't remember.
It's about 9 inches.
Okay. Okay. So that's probably fine. In my mind, I was thinking I've seen a lot of really beautiful projects where when you have those ledges, if it's like amenable to I love skateboarders and I love people who want to skateboard, but sometimes there's places that we don't want them doing it on because it degrades the surface. But if it's only 9 inches, I don't think it would even be possible for someone to hop on that with a skateboard or something.
They wouldn't be able even to access it unless they came down over the top, so it would
Okay.
be, and, you know, one of the things we looked at is, we looked at the terrace, which would be wider, but then we would have maintenance issues with having to put plantings in there, which would be very difficult to get to, so that's why we ended up going with the batter wall, because it was less expensive, and we didn't have to deal with that maintenance issue.
Madam Chair,
Okay.
question.
Yeah, that's cool. No, thanks. Thank you for that. So yeah, I think as long as we can figure a reasonable solution to cover the cap situation on the ledges of the side part of the wall, the stepped part, I think it's a reasonable solution in my view.
So Amy, if this is a 30-foot high wall, and if I'm standing in front of it, is it 30 foot from ground level or what's below ground?
So the structure starts below ground.
Right.
Yeah. But again, we need to see their shop drawings
So
to know
there'd be a
exactly.
course or two below ground, probably?
Yeah, I don't know how many courses, but yes.
Okay. And I recall from your prior diagrams, these blocks are about 2,300 pounds apiece,
They're very,
and they got an interlock, almost like a Lego system.
yes. So the ones that we showed you had like knobs that they
Yep,
locked
yep.
into. This is a little different. It's a T system that,
Okay.
but yes, they interlocked.
Okay, thank you.
Else?
I was just to follow up, and it does look like some of them have like a specific base condition. So it's not necessarily that they just go down into the ground either.
No.
So that's something you guys can look at in the
Yeah.
shop drawings.
We have to, yeah.
Anything else?
So, do you need just okay, go ahead with that? Is that what you're looking for from us?
That's all we're looking for at this point, yeah.
I'm okay with it. Everybody,
I'm okay with it.
All right, on to a schedule update.
So the contractor will continue with excavation of the site. As I said, there's minimal contaminated soil that still needs to be addressed and picked up. At the moment, it's being prepared to stockpile and then be disposed of appropriately. Looks like beginning of next week, probably Monday or Tuesday. They'll continue with footing excavation. They're really working in the area of what will become the apron, or the driveway access for the
Apron's correct,
apparatus. Apron, yeah. That's where the focus is right now of excavation, is that front wall where the apparatus bay meets the apron. We've got several shop drawings to go through. And, yeah, concrete footings. We've got rebar shop drawings that need to be approved before that can get going. And they're laying out footings and
well,
foundation,
for scheduling, when are they looking at starting the footing? Sometime beginning of July?
mid-July.
In July, okay. So that's not bad.
Yeah.
Anything else? Financial update.
Financial update is,
Madam Chair, can I have a quick scheduling related question?
Yeah.
Looks like doing great so far. And obviously there's going to be construction noise all the way through the end. I was wondering if there was any sense, if we have any, obviously we're still excavating, there's still lots of boulders and things that are brought up. And I know a lot of times some heavy machinery to break up the boulders is being used. All seems normal and natural to me. Do we have an estimate about how many more weeks that may be occurring? You may or may not be aware, the select board is dealing with some sound related complaints, and we're dealing with those the best we can. But I was just wondering if we had any idea of how many more weeks of the breaking up the boulders we think that there might be.
sure. I wish I could give a more definitive answer, but we are currently in the middle of a reprieve of that rock breaking work, only while the contractor remobilizes the jackhammer and then creates a new stockpile to break up. So we're in the middle of that. I wish I had better news for you, but there's a machine coming in that will take those small pieces of boulders and turn that into gravel. That is going to be a relatively loud operation. It's a several-week operation.
The rock crusher.
It's a rock crusher, for lack of a better term. It's not here yet. We haven't seen it, but it is on its way. It was supposed to have started this week. It's probably going to start next week, once they've remobilized to the west side of the lot, or the site. But, yeah, unfortunately, it's probably the month of July, would be my best
Jacob,
guess.
we did ask, specifically ask the OPM and Pat as well from HKT to let us know before they start, so we can reach out to those particular subjects who have reached out to us and let them know it's going to be happening, that we're going to be doing this rock crushing, and, it is based on the zoning ordinance that allows 7 to 7, and that's what was part of the bid package, so that's what it has to be. But what we want to do is make sure we at least give them a heads up that it's coming again. Just because it's been quiet for a couple of weeks doesn't mean it's gone, so we don't want them to be shocked.
Chief said it right on the nose, 100%. And I'm not suggesting anything near changing the 7 to 7 schedule. That's what our bylaw allows. That's what the plan was. And people have asked us to reduce the schedule, and I'm like, there's no way. I can't. We got to get this on time and on budget, and there's no way we can change the schedule. The only thing I would, I guess, add is if they have, say, an 8 hours of rock breaking that they need to do in the day, and there is a way to shift it into the 9 to 5 period instead of the 7 a.m. or to the 7 p.m. period, anyways, cutting off those edges. I'm not asking anyone to change what you're doing. You got to get it done on time. I understand that. But if there is any flexibility, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm sure.
That is a request that I have communicated to the contractor. I don't know how often they can work around that, but I have asked that they be considerate of the time that operation is being used.
Appreciate that.
10 a.m. is a bit more appropriate than 7 a.m. for sure. So I have asked and do hope that they try to be flexible.
Interesting enough, there was somebody starting up a saw this morning at 6:30. And I'm like, well, it wasn't our people. It was actually the place next door at the bank. But I immediately got an email. That's not us. That's the bank doing. Okay, I got it. That's nice to know. We appreciate the heads up. So it's everyone's aware. Everyone's very well aware of it, and because of that, they're trying to keep an eye on those types of things.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. Anything?
Anything else with the financial update?
Financial update is relatively minimal. I received the first pay requisition about a week ago. It's still under review. I anticipate we'll have the rest of our review and comments out to the general contractor by the end of the week, beginning of next. There's really no surprises. We're just verifying that what they're billing for is accurate and the percentage complete that they are reporting is what's actually complete. There are no change orders to date. There are some potential change orders that we are tracking. At this moment, they're relatively small figure amounts, but there's no formal change order to report to you as of yet.
I just want to explain a little bit how some of the billing works, just because I get involved in it. So what happens is, if some of the bills come directly to me, when they come to me, they go right back to Todd and Tim, because they review every single bill that comes in before it gets approved to be paid. So it goes to them. The only two exceptions to that are their bill and HKT's bill. But everything else goes to them. They then approve it and send it to Sarah Jean, my admin. She then processes it. It comes to me for signature, and it goes through that way. So it gets seen by every single bill that comes through. My point is, everything that comes through, it gets seen by multiple eyes. It's not like just it comes in, Todd says, yeah, it looks good, and sends it out. So it's seen by multiple eyes. We all get to look at it. If I have a concern, I reach out. If Scott has a concern, he reaches out. So we're on top. It's not a one-eye-in process, and it's quite a few people looking at it. And I just think that's an important thing for people to understand, that we're not just assuming that things are correct. We're looking at it very closely,
So Chief, there are checks and balances, especially against the project plan and the budget.
very much.
Thank you.
Just speaking a little bit more to that, we're working with Jason, just about how the budget is developed, what line item within the budget the individual invoices should be applied to. So there was a conversation this morning with Tao and from our office and Jason, just to kind of go through, reconcile what's been paid to date. And so we'll do that periodically, make sure we're on the same page with the town's ledger and ours, so that there's no surprises or something that gets missed. So there's a lot of back and forth on the individual invoices and then on the overall budget as a whole.
Financial? Okay. Any other business that can come before this meeting?
I have several items, Madam Chair, if I may. So one of the things I'd like to do at this meeting is to keep you guys all up to date on anything that I've been doing, simply because I'm there all the time and I'm the contact with everybody. So there's been several things we're doing. Today, I met with the reps from Dunkin' Donuts, because we're looking at, part of the drainage is going up over there. So I met with them to have them sign a notice of intent. Whew, I had to think of it for a second. They were awesome to meet with. Didn't have a lot, they're just going to do some background check with corporate and all that, but it's going to allow our drainage to go that way, as opposed to having to go into the MassDOT system and having to rebuild their system. So it's a really good thing. So I've been doing that. I met with them. I had to have the town sign it, and I had to have Hillside sign it. I walked into Hillside, they said, give it to me, signed it and give it back to me. So just so you know, they have been amazing to work with, and just terrific. The only other thing that we've done recently, I just want to make you aware of, is I had to get a contract signed between the select board and you guys. Jacob was part of the meeting the other day when it happened, and it's an agreement for the emergency signal in the front of the building. So that's part of the driveway opening permit, which is what we have to get the driveway opening permit issued, so we don't have to worry about some other stuff that's going on. And thank goodness, the board was awesome about it. It took all of 30 seconds, and they approved it, and we got that sent in. So I have one more document to send you. As soon as they get it from Dunks, I'll get it to you guys, and that's the last thing. So there's a lot of other things that are going on. I try to be the go-between, so I'm not harassing you guys on it. I don't tell you everything. If it's something big, I'll make sure I let you know. But for all the running around, we just take care of it, so, just so you know.
Hey, Chief, thank you for doing that so much, and I apologize on behalf of the select board that we didn't, we should have just put you at the front of the agenda for that 30-second item.
Oh.
I told the chair to do that in the future. Sorry you had to sit through. But, and then if you do run into any trouble with Duncan, which it doesn't sound like you will, when I'm in town, which I'm out of town right now, but when I'm in town, I'm there every morning, so just give me a call if I can help in any way.
All right, I appreciate it. That's all I had,
Do
extra.
you have anyone else? Okay. Adjournment?
I move that we adjourn.
I second that.
Made and seconded. Roll call vote. Jacob?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye.
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 Excellent.
Okay. We'll see you next month.
Adjourned at 6:27.
See you next month.
I'll be there in person next time. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Aye, thank you.